Thou shalt destroy them that speak leasing. The Lord will abhor the bloody and deceitful man. Psalms chapter 5 verse 6. In this verse, David continues his meditation on the nature of God, emphasizing the destructive consequences of sin and deceit. He speaks of God's judgment upon those who speak lies, leasing, and those whose lives are marked by bloodshed and deceit. This verse reveals the severity of God's stance against dishonesty and violence, indicating that such individuals will face his righteous wrath. David's words serve as a solemn reminder that God not only detests sin, but will ultimately destroy those who persist in these wicked ways. Thou shalt destroy them that speak leasing. David begins by addressing those who speak leasing, a term that refers to falsehoods, lies, and deceitful words. To speak leasing is to spread falsehoods, manipulate truth, and engage in verbal corruption. God's response to such individuals is one of destruction. The phrase "thou shalt destroy" highlights God's active and certain judgment against those who use their words to deceive, harm, and distort reality. This statement serves as a warning to all who engage in dishonesty, urging them to recognize the serious consequences of their actions. Words have great power, and those who abuse this power through lies will face God's judgment. We are reminded of the importance of truthfulness in our speech and the need to uphold integrity in all our words. The Lord will abhor the bloody and deceitful man. In the second part of the verse, David emphasizes God's deep abhorrence for those who are not only deceitful, but also violent. The bloody and deceitful man refers to those who engage in acts of violence, harm, and manipulation, using deceit to cover up their evil actions. To abhor means to intensely loathe or detest, and this word reflects God's absolute rejection of such individuals. God's purity and holiness cannot tolerate bloodshed and deceit, as these are contrary to his righteous nature. This phrase also indicates that the consequences for such actions are not only temporal but eternal. David's words remind us that the combination of violence and deceit is especially grievous in God's sight, and it calls us to examine our own lives, ensuring that we are not participating in or tolerating such behavior. Conclusion. Psalms 5-6 underscores the seriousness of God's judgment against lies, violence, and deceit. God is not passive when it comes to sin, especially sins of the tongue and actions that harm others. David warns that those who live by deceit and violence will face destruction, as these behaviors are in direct opposition to God's nature. This verse challenges us to reflect on the purity of our speech and actions, urging us to walk in truth and righteousness. It calls us to forsake lies, violence, and deceit, aligning ourselves with God's holiness, and to recognize that God will not tolerate evil in any form. We are called to live in a way that pleases Him, ensuring our words and deeds reflect His truth and justice.